Okay, in Berchtesgaden in search of the Bormann house ruins.
What is behind me, which is really extraordinary.
Bormann's bathroom. Well, we're back at the Obersalzberg, and today we're going to have a look at a special ruin. Before we do that, behind me is the former Hotel zum Türken. To my left, your right, are the ruins of Hitler's Berghof. And you're going to follow me because I'm going to show you a bunch of ruins that are often misunderstood to be the Bormann ruins, because I've made that mistake myself. So let's have a look. And one could be forgiven for thinking these are not particularly old. You see here parts of a roof and other bits and pieces. Now the German government, well, they've become experts at removing Nazi history, and most of the ruins from the Nazi era here at the Obersalzberg they've managed to get rid of one way or another. So it's peculiar that these ruins are still left bare for everyone to see. So these ruins are the ruins of the Unvuflean, and this was a beautiful house situated very close to Hitler's Berghof, even closer to the Hotel zum Türken, and very close to Bormann's house. And the Unvuflean ruins, which is what this is, belonged to a house of Major Spahn or Major Spann, and the major was in charge, or was one of the chief administrators of the Berghof and Führersperrgebiet area here at the Obersalzberg. And one day we'll come back here and lift this roof if we can and see whether we can conduct an archaeological survey of one of the last remaining ruins of the Obersalzberg. This ruin is in such close proximity to the former Bormann house that it's very easy to think that these are, part of the ruins of the Bormann house, which they're not. These are the ruins of the Unvuflean. And lo and behold, the Bormann bunker entrance is just here, and we've of course been in there twice already on the Klovekorn the Relic show. And just above this is the famous round foundation wall of Hitler's greenhouse. Okay, in Berchtesgaden in search of the Bormann house ruins. As historical archaeologists, we need to use whatever means we can to identify where the Bormann house ruins may be. And to assist us in that process, I have an old photograph. The photograph is taken from the perspective of Bormann's house, which overlooked Hotel zum Türken and the Berghof. And the perspective is such that we can still see the left side here of Hotel zum Türken. We can also see a large proportion of the roof space of Hotel zum Türken. We can see Bormann's house was very elevated. Well, if I put my photo away, it's very hard to tell, but Right there is Hotel zum Türken, and although we have a lot of trees in the way, you'll have to take my word for it. This is the Hotel zum Türken, and up here would have been the Berghof. Another important key to establishing the location of the Bormann house is that it's right at the end of the round wall of Hitler's greenhouse, and Hitler's greenhouse is just behind us. And well, let's have a look at that. That's where those sheds are. To the left of that is a massive round retaining wall, which is the retaining wall of Hitler's greenhouse. So, using the ancient method of triangulation, although this is probably more of a biangulation, we're at the back of the line of Hitler's greenhouse foundations, which come this way, and we are here at this end of the Hotel zum Türken, which means where I'm standing, somewhere the Bormann house ruins must be, and we found them. Just situated where I am here are the remnants of the Bormann house, and below us is also the exit of the Bormann house bunker, which we've already been to twice in the Klovekorn the Relic Hunter series. So let's have a look what is still available and for us to see from the Bormann house ruins today.
Martin Bormann was born in 1900. He served as a gunner in World War I in 1918. By 1922 he was fighting in the German Freikorps units, becoming treasurer and section leader, and was an early member of the Nazi Party, joining in 1927. He worked for a Nazi newspaper, was on the staff of the SA, and by 1933 became the chief of staff of Deputy Führer Rudolf Hess. Hitler appointed Bormann Reichsleiter in 1933. This was a huge Nazi title, making him leader of the empire, reporting directly to Hitler and part of the Reichsleitung or Imperial Leadership meeting at the Braun House in Munich. Bormann was tasked with overseeing the massive construction projects at and around the Berghof, commissioning iconic buildings such as the Kehlstein House or Eagle's Nest. Whilst working in close proximity with Hitler to reconstruct Hitler's home, Hitler gave Bormann many auxiliary duties, such as control of his personal finances. When Rudolf Hess's odd solo mission to Britain failed in 1941 and the Deputy Führer position was abolished, Bormann took on the duties of the Deputy Führer, but was given the title of Chief of the Parteikanzlei or Party Chancellery. This made Bormann incredibly powerful, as he became the chief administrator of the Nazi Empire. He controlled the finances, the media, the communication, and even who saw the Führer and what the Führer saw. He was given further roles, such as becoming a Reichsminister, gaining a seat on the War Council, and in 1943 also officially being pronounced Hitler's personal secretary. Bormann was at the Führer bunker in April and May 1945. He was part of a group seeking to break out from the bunker and was last seen alive when attempting to cross the river Spree. Bormann was one of the most important Nazis, and the rediscovery of the ruins of his house at Berchtesgaden is a fundamental archaeological and historical find. It's time to conduct some map and photo verification activities. Let's orientate ourselves to where we are on the map. At the bottom here, if you can see the cursor, we see the Dokumentation Obersalzberg. We move here to this squiggly line, which is the Salzberger Straße, Salzbergstraße, then the Hintereckstraße. We turn right to where Hitler's house or the Berghof would have been.
We keep going up here. We see Hotel zum Türken building now. We keep moving up here. The hotel is on the hill, and we have these two locations shown in the Klovekorn the Relic Hunter video. The first, where the logo is where I believe the Bormann house was, and the second location here in red is where some of the Bormann house ruins now rest. And that's because I believe when the building was being demolished, some of the building materials were simply pushed into this recess in the hill, which is now overgrown by vegetation. How do we verify whether this is all correct? Well, I've managed to find a wartime photo taken just after the bombing in April 1945. Let's overlay that over the top. And it's currently at 100% overlay. At the bottom here, you'll find the Dokumentations Obersalzberg building, which in its day was a guest hotel. Here's the Salzbergstraße. We go up here, and here we see the burnt out ruins of the Berghof. This building here, very hard to see, is the Hotel zum Türken, which of course were the SS Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler barracks, the smaller barracks. And we go up here, and we just see here this building, which is the Bormann house. Let's take some of the opacity away from this image, and at the bottom here we see the Dokumentations building is lining up correctly. Let's have a look whether Hotel zum Türken and the Salzbergstraße lines up properly. It lines up perfectly. And now let's focus on the Klovekorn the Relic Hunter logo, which is where I believe the positioning of the Bormann house was. And we see here this is where the remnants of the Bormann house ruins are. And as we can see from the overlay of the aerial photo, that's exactly where the Bormann house was in April 1945, confirming the location of the ruins to be absolutely accurate.
Now we know that the Bormann house did have a little plunge pool, but I think what is behind me, which is really extraordinary, is more than likely an aspect to one of his bathrooms, because it's just tiled in the way that a bathroom would be tiled. Bormann's bathroom.